We are ready to start. I can see Fatai. Aomian, do you know if Fatai is joining us? Aomian, are you there? Hello.
Oh. Yes, I just hear. Yeah, I'm switching back. I'm calling Fatai. He is connecting.
We can give him a minute and then we start. Okay. I think we can start. Luis, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. So let's start. Welcome, everybody. This is an interim meeting of the CCAMP working group. As we said many times during the last IETF meeting and on the mailing list, we will not be meeting in Bangkok for IETF 122 because of an overlap of the IETF meeting with the ITU meeting, and a lot of CCAMP participants will be involved there. So this is the reason why we will have these two interim meetings. The Note well applies to interim meetings as well. So all participation rules, guidelines apply to interim meetings as well. Agenda. This is the agenda that we have put together, but Reza was asking to anticipate his slot because he cannot be with us at the end. So if the other presenters, if Sergio, Gabriele, if it's okay for you, we will put Reza's presentation at the beginning and then continue with Sergio and Gabriele. Again, 20 minutes each should be fine, and then we leave room for discussion. Any issue with this change? Is everyone happy with that? I'm mostly talking to Sergio and Gabriele.
No problem.
Okay. Gabriele, I don't seem connected. We will ask him again later. Then, a quick overview on the document status. If you open up the data tracker page, you might be scared by a number of documents which have a significant delay. RFC 1993 bis is one of them. In this case, it's good that it still needs to be progressed, because you will see in Sergio's presentation that changes suggested optical impairment topology draft will have impacts on RFC 1993 as well. So we will make those changes to RFC 1993 bis as well, and then progress the document. We already discussed this with Ketan, and he suggested to go for a second shorter working group last call on 1993 bis, just to check that everyone is happy with the changes that we will make. By the way, I take this opportunity for an announcement. The announcement, which is usually done during the March meeting, but we will not be able to do that since we are not meeting. So we will have a new area director. Ketan will be taking over from John. I think this could be a good opportunity to say thanks to John for being with us. It was 4 years, John, right?
Yes, 4 years.
4 years. So thanks a lot on behalf of the entire working group for being with us in those 4 years. From one side, you've been lucky that CCAMP is a relatively calm and relaxed working group, but there were tough days as well. And thanks a lot for your support during this journey.
Well, I agree with all those things, and thanks for being an easy group to work with.
And I see that Ketan joined us, so this is an ambush for him. Ketan, I was anticipating, as given that we are not meeting in person at IETF 122, I was taking the opportunity to announce the switch of area director, that you will be the new AD for CCAMP. So welcome, and we are all looking forward to working with you in CCAMP.
Thanks, Daniele, for that. Yes, I'm looking forward to working with you. CCAMP is new to me, so I'm going to be starting off with learning from you.
I'm pretty sure there is much more you can teach us than us to you. No worries. Okay, so let's move forward. As I was saying, RFC 1993 bis, you will see this presented by Sergio during his presentation. We will suggest some enhancements to the draft. Once the enhancements will be implemented, we will issue a second working group last call, a shorter one lasting by 1 week, and then we'll hand it over to Ketan to progress it. There are other documents with a much higher delay in the queue, all of them due to misref situation. This one, the layer 1 types, is almost reaching 1 year in the editor queue. Here the dependency is on RFC 8776 update in TIS. The draft is in a pretty advanced stage. It's waiting for write-up. It's post working group last call, so this dependency should be fixed pretty soon. And this one would unlock 2 other drafts in the editor queue since a while. We have the layer 1 CSM, which has been in the editor queue for more than 300 days, and the OTN topology Yang. Both of these drafts are depending on the previous one. So once the previous one is unlocked, all these 3 documents should get the green light. Priorities. We tried to adopt this way of working. In the wiki, page of the working group, we are tracking the drafts that the next drafts that we are prioritizing for working group last call and for working group adoption. For working group last call, we have as priority 1 in the cluster the optical impairment topology and the 1993 bis, which are very close to moving forward. The WDM tunnel Young is the next one, for which we recently asked for a Young doctor last call review and the routing directorate last call review, which should be done by beginning of March. So the next ones to move forward are them. Luis?
Yes, Daniele, just to comment that for the impairment topology Young, the deadline was the Saturday. So it's just a matter of sending the email saying that the author should address the comments received in this working group last call, and we will keep progressing the draft. So basically the call has ended as well.
Yes, perfect. Then periodic calls. I mean, everyone should be aware of the high number of weekly calls that we have. As usual, if new calls, modifications, and so on are needed, please reach out to us. And last but not least, a recap on the plans for the next meetings. Once again, we are not meeting during the IETF 122. 2 meetings will be held instead. This one focused on optical stuff, on pluggables and WDM documents. There will be another one soon after the IETF week. It will be is scheduled for the 10th of April. And that one in particular will be all focused on OTN documents. This is it. Any question? If not, we will hand it over to Reza.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and can I control the slides?
Yes. Let me see. Pass slide control. Try now.
Let me see. Yeah, it seems that I can do it. Thank you.
Perfect.
Okay, great. Hello, everyone. On behalf of the co-author, I'm going to present the progress of the coherent pluggable modeling along with the Google Sheet that is complementing to that draft. I'm Reza Rukui, I'm from Siena, and for next few minutes, we go through the progress that we have, starting with a recap of what we want to do. Because during the weekly meeting that we have, sometimes new people join and ask the mandate and the direction that we want to do. I thought it might be a good idea to refresh our memory to state the problem that we want to solve. As indicated here, the problem statement is relatively straightforward. To model optical pluggable, aka coherent pluggables, the intention was to go to various STOs, forums, and other entities which are already defined the pluggable attributes, use them, and in very specific in 3 areas. The number 1 is the capability attributes. These are non-configurable attributes that is inside the pluggables. The whole idea here is describing this type of attribute is describing what pluggable can and cannot do. So this is the first group of attribute. The second one is configuration. There are a group of attributes inside the pluggables. You have to configure it a specific way. And these are the group of attributes which are relatively straightforward. What feature and capability can be configured or provisioned on the pluggable itself. And number 3, last but not least, are PMs and state data, telemetry data we can collect from the pluggables. And they are non-configurable. Again, we read it from the pluggables, and this will be imposed or exposed to the northbound interface of the router. One big or major difference between whatever we do and modeling or something else, in this case, all these attributes that we are defining here, number 1, number 2, number 3, are exposed from pluggable through the northbound of the host, aka router, or could be different device. But it is very important to consider that this exposure, as we go through the process, it's important to consider this one will be exposed only from the northbound of the host. And this is a very important aspect to consider. So this is the Google Sheet. To do that, we went the best way that we thought that is easy for everybody to share, to have a Google Sheet which contains all those 3 categories. And as you see, categories, the source comes from IETF, OpenConfig, ITU2, or OIF, for example. Could be sometimes both or 3 of them have the same attributes. And the area is capability attribute, configuration attribute, and PM attribute. I just put it there to refresh our memory one more time that what is the mandate that we want to do. For all majority of people in this meeting, they already know that, but there are few people, maybe Katan and others, might not know what the mandate is. I thought it's a good idea to put it there. So with that one, that we set the foundation of what we want to do, what is a summary that we've done since 121? Since IETF 121, this is the page that we said we want to do it. Number 1, we finished the first revision of the pluggable. We started from attribute for capability, configuration, and PM and state. We went through that one. I'm happy that say that we went through that once. There was a few items that we were not sure. We wanted to go through the second round to have a second revision of that. Number 2, and number 4, it's something that we said we want to do it. It's done as well. We take the draft that we had at that time was the draft, the version was 0.1. We said that we went through lots of changes. The changes proposed at IETF 121. If you want to go, please go ahead and take a look what was the changes. A pull request is created to make sure that it's capturing everybody's comments and the way we want to go. I simplify a group of comments received, thanks to the people, Gert, Italo, Sergio, they provided something, I responded back, but we have to go through the process. And the number 2 and 3, in this case, it's something that has not been done because both of them rely on the pluggable Google Sheet to make sure we are okay. And with that one, I can go to the more detail of whatever I just presented. Number 1, we finished the first review. Number 2, the second review, we are happy to say that Esther from the Orange joined us, and I'm really happy with the progress that we made. In few weeks, she went through the entire document, provide her responses, and we're using her expertise to go through the second round. So this is a good progress. She is a good asset, and I'm suggesting put her name as a contributor. I didn't talk to her. This is the reason I didn't mention it at the beginning, but definitely she is a very good contributor to this document. Number 3, now we have to the concept of putting all the changes that we have, because this work has 2 sides. One is Google Sheet, one is a document itself, and this is the reason I go back and forth. This is a kind of the unique position versus other draft at IETF that accompanying company, that the Google Sheet is a very important aspect of this one. So number 1 and 2 is about Google Sheet. Number 3 is about the pluggable itself to refer to that. So the thing that is not done from the pluggable document is described here. So what we want to do, we want to finish the Google Sheet. My hope is by IETF 123, we can finish that. Number 2, having that one, we can go to the gap analysis. And again, this is my hope that before 123, we go and start doing the gap analysis, because this is a very important aspect. We find at step 1, a group of attributes in terms of the 3 areas that I mentioned: capability, configuration, and PM. Number 2, we go and say gap analysis. We have it. There are IETF models. What are the things that are not there? And outcome of that one is number 3, which goes as how we want to address those things that we find. And there are various ways to do it. We didn't go through it yet, but most likely using IETF models, if we can do the augmentation or bees or any other update. So number 2 and 3 is not something that we discussed it, but this is the idea we want to go. Everybody was happy when we introduced this one at the IETF 121. We don't want to reinvent the wheel. If there is something existing at IETF, we definitely want to start from that. And this is the whole idea, complementing IETF work and make sure that we are capturing everything inside. Number 4 is the next version. Hopefully during this process, in parallel, I received more comments on the document. We through the pull request, and we include that one. And the hope is we can have the next version of that one. Again, my hope is by 123 we can do that. At the very end, based on discussion that we had at IETF 121, the agreement that we had was go through this process. I'm happy that whatever was the ask there, we are going through that and working for the adoption of this document, this draft. The reason is lots of interest, lots of people are working together. Work is still in progress. Actually, we are doing the work as if this is a working group document. I just want to make sure that officially is a part of that ecosystem as well. And with that one, I conclude my presentation. If there is any question and comment, please go ahead. Okay, back to you, Daniela.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Reza.
You're welcome.
So, now to Sergio for the optical impairment topology and RFC 1993. Hey, Sergio.
America.
Let me give you pass the slide control. Should be working. See if you can move the slides.
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay. Thank you, Daniele. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody, depending of your location. I'm going to present the status of 2 enhanced drafts that is the optical impairment aware topology model and RFC 1993. So the optical impairments has recently ended the working group last call review. That was ending on February 14th. We received during this last call a couple of comments, one from Dieter, the other from Gert. I will go to some details about the comments, but first the point is that the comments that we receive implies some update in the Young description statement about some attributes in RFC 1993 bis. These attributes are used in the optical impairment, but are defined in RFC 1993 bis. Just for reminder, RFC 1993 bis is basically a draft that is providing a common set of Young structure that are used by layer 0 Young models. And so some of the many of the attributes that are used in the different Young models for layer 0 are defined in RFC 1993 bis. The attributes, the comments received from Dieter is basically ask for a modification. So during the before Reza has provide some description about the fact that in the pluggable we have a list of a big list of attributes. Most of them are coming from IETF drafts, and in particular from optical impairments and RFC 1993. During discussion was raised the point that some of some attributes that are listed here require more clarification and a better description in the Young. And this description has to be done in the RFC 1993 bis. The other, these just to give you a hint, we already started to work on that, and you can see here an example of the modification of the description. This is based on is related to the chromatic dispersion, but the same are for the other attributes. You can see on the left the older version of the description in Young, and on the right the new one that we are working on already. The other comments is coming from Gert and is related both for optical impairment and RFC 93 bis, is related to some definition and text in the one section in the optical impairments, and basically it is required to change something in the optical impairment text, substituting the transmitter word, since the tuning part is related to the transceiver, so both TX and RX and not just transmitter. We is required to change the steps word into granularity, and also to change the name of the attribute transceiver tunability into transceiver tunability granularity, because transceiver tunability was considered not enough clear. So next step for optical impairments. So the first point is we need to update the version 17 according to the working group last call received. These changes in the version 17 has to be done absolutely in alignment with the RFC 1993 bis, because there is dependency. RFC 1993 bis is imported, so we need to make modification in parallel, and then uploading new version. So be ready for IETF last call process towards publication. Any comments for the optical impairments? If not, I will go on with 1993 bis. So 1993 bis passed the working group last call and was submitted to ICG for publication. The present version 12 is coming from version 11 that was updated addressing a working group last call. I provided here the list of basic modification between version 11 and version 12 for detail for whom it can be interested. The comment received during the working group last call, as said before, in the working group last call for optical impairment, has implication regarding RFC 1993 bis. So for next step regarding 1993 bis, so we need to make improvement related to the changes required coming from working group last call for optical impairment, and this should be done as post working group last call changes. So in the context of IETF last call process, for this point, this is the co-authors and contributors understanding of possible process solution, but obviously chairs and area director can suggest or comment on this point. And so we should then address possible comment received during IETF last call in the context of the process towards publication. I finished. Any comments?
Regarding the process, as we said that at the beginning, we can implement them. Given we are post working group last call, we will run a 1 week working group last call to make sure that everyone is happy with the changes, and then we are done. We are good to proceed.
Okay, so basically it is true that we can start and progress both the modification for optical impairment and 1993 bis that I said is needed to be aligned.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Any other question on the drafts? Today it's too easy. Let's see if we have some discussion on the third presentation. Which is this one. Gabriele. Roberto, are you going to present it, or Gabriele?
Yeah,
Okay.
I still don't see Gabriele. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly.
Yes, okay, so I can probably present it since Gabriele is not here.
Perfect. Let me give you the slide control. There
Okay,
you go.
dev. Okay, perfect. So I'm presenting the update of this draft. It's a Yang data model to manage configurable DWDM optical interface. From the last version, we also changed a little bit the title to, let's say, expand the scope not only to pluggable optical DWDM interface, but in general as a possible model to provide information for DWDM interface configuration. I'm presenting it for Gabriele and the co-authors. Let me see. Okay. I skipped 2 pages, sorry. What has changed since the previous revision? We, first of all, modify the terminologies in the text to cover not only coherent transceiver, but in general DWDM transceiver. And we better define the mode of the working mode of the transceiver as a configuration parameter from current mode to configure mode with a text that better explain its meaning and the way it is selected. Then we have done some alignment to the RFC 8407 BIS template, reorganizing the section and some section of the document, and also adding and updating the security and module classification sections, and also moving the Yang tree to the appendix of the document. And then here is a list, I don't go one by one, but there is a list of change of some module grouping or leaf name that was a bit longer and confusing, and basically we thanks also to the review of some part of the team of the working group, we reduce it. Let's say we make them more simple to read, basically, and more focusing on the fact that we are working on DWDM interfaces. And finally, a few Yang model error that has been fixed. So what is the main scope of this document? So it complements the optical impairment topology, providing not only the topology view, but also the possibility to monitor and configure the optical parameter on the DWDM interface. Its focus is mainly in the device to controller scenario, also if it can be used also between controllers. It is referring to the RFC 1993 BIS for everything that concerns the layer 0 type definition, and of course is aligned to the above two documents. Again, we are now working on some open issue that we have left over from the last pull request review during the update, and these are tracked all as issue in GitHub, and we are going to fix them for the next revision. And what next? So of course the fix of the issue that we described above, and we will need for sure a Yang doctor review after the change done to the model, and then moving forward to get to the last call. This is all for this document. If there are any comment or question.
There is a question from Aomian in the queue.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Hamian from Huawei. If you can go to the previous page. Yeah, it's very useful to mention this document complements the impairment Yang and reference the 1993 BIS. I believe there is dependency, but by mentioning so, are you preferring to to proceed the work together with the other two. That means as a cluster, because we are having a little bit complicated relationship in the dependency. We have multiple documents, maybe in the same cluster or different.
I don't know. I think so. I think the impairment topology and the 1993 are definitely more mature at the moment. In my opinion, these ones still need to some accommodation of some part of the text, also the closure of this issue. So probably we can move on after the other two, and then because basically. This document refers mainly to the RFC 1993 as normative reference. So I think it can
right. I'm not saying
later.
any approach is right or wrong, but if this document come after the previous two, that means if we have a further change on the 1993 types, that would be a second base for that.
No, I think so. For that, we have done a very deep review on this last pull request, also with Sergio and Italo and all the people that are working on 1993. And we mainly focus the fix. And basically we focus the review of this last revision to make sure that there are no additional change required to 1993 bis to support this document. So I think that should probably we should have minimized this risk.
Okay. Yeah. Please. Thank you.
Yes, I wouldn't defer 1993 bis and the optical impairment topology any longer. So I'm more inclined to keep them separate, not as a cluster. And I had another question, Roberto, which is if you could clarify for the working group, unless it's already clear to everyone, what is the relationship between this draft and the pluggables work?
Yeah, let's say the pluggable works. I think that Reza is driving. It's a very comprehensive activity in looking at all the possible optical parameter that may be useful at the DWDR interface. In part, some of these optical parameter, both in terms of configuration, capability, and also monitoring, performance monitoring, are present already in this work. So, and they are already listed also in the optical pluggable work that Reza is driving. But that work is has the scope also to identify some gaps, and there are some new parameters that are coming out from the work of the optical pluggable that may probably require extension of this model or the definition of augmentation of other model in case. So they are definitely strictly related, and they focus on the same area. This work was started a few years ago, mainly focusing on the controller to device management interface, so the southbound of the controller. But in fact, also the optical pluggable gap that may be more also oriented to the controller use the same data and same parameters. Okay. I don't know if I reply completely, but that's the status.
So, any other question for Roberto or the other presenters? Any other new topic that you wanted to bring up?
Daniela Gert is in the queue.
Oh, sorry, I missed it.
Hi, Gert. Gert?
Girl, we cannot hear you.
We still cannot hear you, Gert.
Okay, let's wait.
Maybe you need to record.
Okay, he's back.
We can't hear you, Gertie. I don't know if you wanted to type your question and we can read it for you. In the meanwhile, Nigel, if you want.
Thanks, Daniela. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a problem with my browser. It wouldn't let me select any microphone, so I'm on my phone now. Gert may have the same problem. But anyway, so I just wanted, Roberto, I just wanted to confirm that would you intend to release this work before Reza finishes the work and then update it, or would you intend to wait? I wasn't clear from the presentation. Maybe I missed what you said, actually, but...
I honestly, I think the intention will be to close on this work if possible, and then in case work on extension or augmentation
or adjustments as appropriate,
or adjustment for what comes out as a gap. Then we need to see how things progress with the time. But the idea ideally will be to close this document and then adjust with the gap that we have identified.
Okay, just wanted to understand the strategy. That sounds fine.
Yes.
Either way would have been fine in my opinion. Just interested in which way you're going to go. That's all. Thanks, Greg. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Gert is writing. If draft is about managing the optical interface, the pluggable draft is about the specific need of pluggable interface. So it was want to clarify that.
Clarification.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Gert. Okay. If there are no other questions, I think
Yes, I think
go back in.
I think we are done. And as we said at the beginning, we are not meeting in Bangkok. We are meeting again in April, the 10th, if I'm not mistaken. And that's it. Gert, you are now in the queue. You want to say something? No.
So he enjoyed joining the queue and saying nothing, apparently.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Ciao Italo. Italo, mi senti?